Grounded has always held a special place in my heart, as it was the very first game that me and my now fiance got to play and experience together. We made lifelong memories on the game that unknowingly at the time became the catalyst for our relationship moving forward. When we actually saw Grounded 2 get announced during the Xbox Game Showcase, we flipped out and were beyond excited. Then finally, on July 29th, we got our hands on the game, and for the most part, it's amazing, with the second game having many improvements over the first in almost, and emphasis on almost, every way. But it definitely needs some work. So today, I'd like to give some suggestions and things that we'd like to see fixed or changed in the future. And if you agree with me or disagree, let me know in the comments below, and feel free to add your own suggestions as well. Alright, we ready? Let's go. First, I want to talk about the new Omni tool. While this is a great change to the game, there are a few drawbacks that make it kinda underwhelming, and one that doesn't even make sense. The main problem I have with the Omni tool is at the moment, when I try to pick up an insect body part near a harvestable item, it becomes very finicky and won't let me pick up what I need until A, I harvest whatever is stopping me from picking up said parts, or B, find the perfect angle to pick up what I need. This makes using the tool very frustrating, and the way I see them fixing this would be to make the Omni tool equipable, whether that's through a toggleable button in the menus or have a dedicated slot next to your tool belt that lets you bind the button to then equip the tool. I think the latter is a much better solution because I'm sure that they could do that, but I'm not a dev, so I don't know. The next problem that I have with the Omni tool is that we can't harvest tier 3 items as the upgrades aren't unlocked yet. While I understand that it's an early access game, if we can't harvest something that's harvestable, then just don't put it in the game until we can. I'm looking at you, snail shells. I did see that tier 3 unlocks are coming with the winter update, but I think having to wait that long is pretty annoying, especially when there are many tier 3 items in the game already that can't be obtained through harvesting. This leads me into my next point, the fall update. The fall update looks to add a boss to the game named Axel and its items. That's pretty much it. I think this update needs just a bit more content to hold over players until the winter update. As from the winter update and beyond, each drop seems to have plenty of content within them. Next, I want to talk about 2 Scabby changes that I'd like to see. The first would be to give the players the ability to scan 1 to 2 items with a set cooldown just like the normal scanners directly from your Scabby. I cannot tell you how nice this would be, as the players wouldn't have to wait to scan something or travel all the way back to a scanner that may be completely out of their way. The second change I'd like to see is with resource scanning. I think that when players ping a resource, the game should auto pick up the resource that's been pinged if you're within a short distance of it. This would in turn make grinding out one particular resource just a little bit easier and a little bit quicker. Now I want to talk about yard changes. One thing I've been seeing in Grounded 2 that I do not like is the fact that some places need a buggy to get into. I think everything in the game should be accessible with or without a buggy, and in the future I'd like to see buggies become more of an option rather than a necessity. The next change to the yard I'd like, and many others apparently would as well, would be the miner's helmet. If they have to add fireflies, that's okay. But at the moment, most of the weapons are two-handed, so exploring caves and fighting is kind of annoying without lights. Next, and I could be wrong here, so feel free to correct me down below, but the bees need to be easier to farm. And what I mean by that is, currently it feels like they are all over the yard, yet barely seem to land. So I think that making the bees land more often would fix this altogether. And while we're on the topic of bugs, a few more wolf spider spawns would be nice. Alright, on to the big ones, game changes and fixes. First and foremost, let's just get this one out of the way, as everyone and their brother has said it. Performance needs to be fixed, whether that be through optimizations or upscaling, I don't care. But as of right now, I'm using a config that disables Lumen just to get above 80 FPS on low settings. This is unacceptable, especially when my PC ran the last game at over 200 FPS on high settings. To continue on with performance changes, co-op at seemingly random points in my game will freeze for about 2 to 3 minutes, then unfreeze as if nothing happened. Sometimes it's shorter, sometimes it's longer. This needs to be addressed ASAP, as it's driving me and my fiance insane. Alright, on to the more fun stuff. In Grounded 1, making jerky did nothing other than give you food and remove the spoil timer. In Grounded 2, I think jerky should for the most part stay the same, but have some boosts for certain types of bug meat, as jerky does take a significant amount of time to dry out, and this would make it more lucrative at endgame as well. This next suggestion may be a little controversial, but I feel very strongly about it, and I'll explain to you why after. I think that bugs in Grounded 2 should not be resistant to any weapon type. Yes, yet instead, they should only be resistant to elemental damage types like Sour and Minty. This in turn will make every class and weapon viable, therefore letting players explore different builds without worrying that their weapons might suck against certain enemies. As in Grounded 1, many players would look up YouTube videos for best build guides or best weapon lists instead of just trying them out for themselves. I also believe that this change would make the class archetype system that they're going for work much better than it currently does. Another thing I'd like to see in game are custom game settings, as it seems like they already are in the game, but they locked them for some reason. Now, last but not least, for game changes, I want to see things from Grounded 1 come back to Grounded 2. For example, I was extremely disappointed when coziness wasn't even in the game at launch. Systems like these added more to do, and at the moment the game could definitely use something like coziness to make players feel more accomplished. Okay. My final ask is a shot in the dark, but I ended up buying the Founders Pack and would love to see Omni Tool, Scabby, Weapon, player skins, and hell, even Buggies could get skins in the future. If more skins do come to the game in the future, I think the devs should add a dedicated workbench for customization, or add a Founders tab to the player's Scabby like the mutations menus. Anyways, those are my suggestions for Grounded 2. I'd appreciate y'all leaving a like as it helps me out a ton, and let me know if I should make more Grounded content in the future. Thank you for watching, have a good day, see you in the next one.